Alright, so it's been a few years now since Google launched the Pixel 4a, but personally it's always held a special place for me as a great follow-up to the Pixel 3a. For this one, we're going to do a quick revisit of Google's budget champion. Let's get started. Now, the Pixel 4a was Google's follow-up to its first ever budget Pixel phone, and while it isn't exactly new now, I do think that it's still a good value phone even in this day and age. If you want to check out this phone, I'll drop some links in the description below. And with that said, here is the Pixel 4a in 2022. Let's get to the video. Alright, so a couple of things that I liked the most about the Pixel 4a was the overall compact build and the display. The phone had a 5.8-inch OLED display with a 1080 by 2340 pixel resolution with Gorilla Glass 3, surrounded by a matte plastic body, which was generally lighter than most smartphones. It also had a headphone jack, and overall this was a very minimalist look, which was a nice contrast to most smartphones with some flashy designs. This was the first of Google's phones to feature the hole punch display as well, ditching the large bezels on the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 4 designs, and it featured a much more modern aesthetic. It's a nice follow-up to the previous Pixel generation, and it also served as a design template, which we also saw on the Pixel 5, Pixel 4a 5G, and the Pixel 5a. Now, in terms of performance, the Pixel 4a ran on a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset alongside 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. It also ran on a very clean version of Android with some exclusive Google software features and regular software support. Now, these specs might not be very impressive, but it wasn't a slow or weak device per se. I was able to play a ton of games on the smartphone, and everyday usage felt like a breeze. The Pixel 4a hardly felt like a cheap smartphone, and its software experiences like these that really separate Pixel phones from other devices out there. The same can be said for its battery, which was able to last me an entire day's worth of use. It was a very reliable smartphone, and for people looking for a straightforward modern communication device, it is more than capable. The Pixel 4a came with a very simple camera hardware setup. On the back, you had a main 12-megapixel camera alongside an 8-megapixel camera on the front of the phone. Hardware was hardly an issue though because of Google's computational photography, which was able to get great looking images. With that said, I do like the way that a 4a handles pictures with just the right amount of saturation, some impressive exposure in most cases, as well as enough dynamic range in a lot of photos. I was never one for mobile photography, but the Pixel 3a and the 4a managed to change all that. There's a reason why the Google Pixel phones continue to be some of my most favorite point-and-shoot camera phones, and Google's optimized camera software really puts the Pixel 4a ahead of other similarly priced smartphones thanks to terrific camera performance. With all that said, it is of course an older device, and newer phones like the Pixel 6a bring newer hardware like Google's sensor chipset, an updated design, and a larger battery for example. But on the other hand, it's still a very capable smartphone, and the fact that it also gets regular monthly updates and the latest Android 13 version is a great point to keep in mind. For folks looking for a relatively inexpensive smartphone from Google, then the Pixel 4a is still a good device to look into. Of course, the battery and screen are small compared to most smartphones, but at the end of the day, it will depend on what you need in terms of hardware and usage. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of this quick video. Let us know what you think about the Pixel 4a in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out our other content here on TeamVR. As always, thanks all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.